Welcome back to my channel. This is a continuation of my last video I did on vendor registration. Now, in our last video, we were able to create this function that combines three forms for our vendor registration. Like I said, there are better ways to handle this, but then for the sake of the tutorial and to carry everybody along, I decided to make it simplified, and also I'm using three forms so that you would know how to work with different forms for registration or for any other purpose. Now on our forms.py, we created this function which is allow image only validators, and this allow only image validators is in our authentication app. So I go to this authentication app and I open the validators.py. Now, just to clarify, this extension ext is the name of a variable that holds the file name and its extension, and we declared a tuple here. This is a tuple. A tuple in Python and Django is declared using parentheses. Parentheses is open and close bracket like this, while this is a list. So this code is going to extract the file name and its extension and save in a tuple. Now, the reason why we're using a tuple is because tuples are immutable. That means their values cannot be changed once they are declared. Now, we don't want a situation whereby the file name and its extension will change after the user have uploaded the file. That's why we use a tuple to declare it. While square brackets are used to define a list, it's used to define a list in Python. Now, lists are a type of collection in Python that allow you to store multiple items in a single variable. But in this case, we are storing only the extension in this list. Now, if you want to declare a list in Python, you can simply say like this: my list equals square brackets banana oranges and apples. I have to come back to this because I understand that some of my audience have no prior knowledge about development or programming, so that's why I'm explaining this all over again. So this is how to declare a list. So it is used to, for example, now if you want to list down your favorite movies, you can also do it like this. So this is how lists are defined in Python. They allow you to store multiple items in a single variable, and each item in a list is separated by a comma, and the whole collection of the list is enclosed in a square bracket. Now, tuples are declared using parentheses, and I'm going to show you an example of where we declared tuple in this application. Now, if you go to the authentication app, you go to models.py, and then you see this is a tuple. This role choice equals, I open parentheses, vendor, customer, and driver. So we declared a tuple here called role choice because we want to assign one of these items to the person that is doing the registration. So if the user clicks on the vendor registration form, their role will be vendor. While if they are registering as a customer, their role is going to be customer, and for drivers is going to be driver. Now, if you look at our code, go to views.py, and then you'll see, look, new user.role equals user.customer, because we've declared this as a tuple And then this customer cannot be changed because we declared it as a tuple. So now this is a list. I'm going to put a comment. This is a list. Now if you want to define a tuple, you can say, for example, rule equals parenthesis customer driver and user. Now you see this is a tuple and it's very similar to the list. Tuple, it's used to store fixed values that are immutable, fixed values that cannot be changed. But my lists, they are mutable, they can be changed. So list, square brackets, tuple, parentheses, and dictionaries, curly braces. So let me do this. Now dictionaries. Now in Python, or generally in programming, dictionary is an unordered collection of items, and each item is a key value pair. Dictionaries are defined using curly braces in Python, with key value pairs separated by colon. Now this is how you define a dictionary in Python. So I'm just gonna say, just dictionaries in Python is the same thing as your English dictionary or your French dictionary. You have a word and its meaning. Word and its meaning. Now empty underscore dictionary equals this. So I have defined an empty dictionary here. Then I will say favorite people equals curly brace Evans no, let me use this age age 25 comma name colon Alice, and then I'll say salary colon 5,000. So for numbers, I didn't put these quotes, but for letters, I enclosed it in a quote. So this is a dictionary key and its value. The key is Evans, the value is 25. The key is name, the value is Alice. The key is salary, the value is 5,000. So this is a dictionary, curly brace, this is a tuple, parenthesis, and this is a list, square brackets. Now dictionaries are used when you want to store something that has a key and a value. Key and a value, that's when you use dictionary. Now if you look at the last code that we created, our last function, you will see in here that I defined a dictionary called data, and this is the key, this is its value. This is the key, this is its value. Now dictionaries are mutable, they can't be changed. Now these are the basic data structures in programming, and then we have other data structures such as sets. So now we have other ones such as sets. I'm going to teach about this extensively on one of my playlists. So on this playlist, utility lesson, I'm going to be teaching about Python syntax. Where you learn these data structures, loop, while loop, if loop. if, nested loops, and all the rest, basic Python codes, so you really understand how everything works. Why this is gonna be used is another tutorial series where I'm using React for front end, Python and Django for backend, and this is the current tutorial series that I'm teaching. Now we've finished creating our function for our vendor registration. So the next thing we have to do is to create our urls.py. Now we've already created a urls.py in our authentication app. So to speed up our development, what you simply need to do is go to your authentication app, go to urls.py, and then just copy this entire code, and then go to your authentication vendor app. This is my vendor app. Go to urls.py. If you don't have urls.py, just come to this vendor app, right click, click on create a new file and type urls.py. It's a Python file, and then you paste this code. So now what you need to do is, let's change this to something similar to what we want to do. So I'm just gonna call this vendor reg. Then this is gonna be the name of our function. So our function is vendor reg as well. So just copy it to make sure everything is uniform. Go back to the urls.py and type it views.vendor reg, and the name is, I'm still gonna call it vendor reg. Now Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, and Ctrl V. Now this can be anything you want. This also can be anything you want. This is a name that we need to reference this URL in other files, and then this is the URL path. So when you click on the vendor registration form, this is going to be the URL path. So it can be whatever you want, but this has to be the name of the function. And remember, you have to import this from dots import views. We use from dots because views is in the same directory as the URLs. Assuming you wanted to import views in your authentication app, you need to spell out the path fully. So you will say from authentication import views. But in this case, our views is already inside the same folder as our vendor app. That's why we just need to say from dots import views. So yeah, so we've created our URL. The next thing you need to do is to configure this URL in our main project directory. So you just have to go to this place. Let me collapse this. Book and write. This is our main project directory. Click to expand it, then go to urls.py, and then I've written the code. Let me remove it. So this is the URLs we created for authentication app. Just copy it to make everything faster, and then you paste it here, and then this is going to be not authentication again. Call this vendor, and then this is going to be the name of this app, vendor.urls. Now this can be anything. This is just a path, so it means when we host our web application, or if I run the Django server and I want to go to the vendor URL, the path is going to be maybe 128.5.120 / is going to be vendor first / so it's going to be this vendor first, and then the name of the URL. You go to my urls.py, this now vendor reg. Now I'll go back. So this is how the path is going to be. Now if you change this to whatever you want, a, b, reg, or whatever, So this part is going to be like this: abreg/vendor reg. And if you change this urls.py to whatever you want, for example, so I'll copy it. It's going to be, the URL is going to be like this. That's what it means. So I'm just gonna revert back to what we have: vendor and then vendor reg. I'll go back here, url.py, Control Z, vendor reg. So yeah, so this is how to configure our URL. It can be whatever you want it to be, but this vendor.urls must be the name of your app, vendor.urls. Now the next thing you have to do is to configure this. Inside our template we have our vendor registration templates. Go to vendor, this vendorreg.html. We need to write the code and display the forms that we created. And so to make the application development faster, just go to your authentication and register.html. This is the code that we used for our user registration. So simply copy this code, go back to the vendor reg, and then paste it. So yeah, so in fact, let me not do this. Let's type out the code afresh so you can refresh your memories. Now the first thing you want to do is to generate your HTML boiler templates. You can press shift and exclamation sign, and then once it appears, just press enter. So it has generated my basic HTML boiler templates. If this doesn't work for you, what you can do is simply go to your web browser and then type HTML boilerplates, and then click on the first one you see. You're gonna find the HTML boiler template. There's no point of you to start memorizing this code because these are stuff that you use every time, and so the codes are readily available for you to use and speed up your development. So what you have to do here, just come to this title section and change it to whatever you like. So I'm gonna call it vendor registration form, and then we will include our codes between these body tags. This is the body tag that opens it, and this is the closing body tag. So just keep your cursor in here, and then we have to add the codes. Now the first thing you want to do is to open a form tag. So I'm gonna open my form tag, say form method equals post. Then you type action, you open quotes, and then you open curly brace, and then inside of it you put percentage, and then you type URL. Then what is the name of your URL? The URL is, go to your vendor app and you go to your urls.py. This is the name, vendor reg. So whatever you name it here, that's what you're gonna use in here. So this is the URL. And then you close your percentage here. That's it. Come outside of the quotes and you type end type, and it selects multi-path form data. Now the reason is because on our form we need to select image fields. So we need to browse through our system and pick an image field, the profile and the vendor license document. So that's why you need to add this If you don't add this, it's not gonna work. And remember, on our views as well, views.py, we have to add this request.files whenever you want to upload files on a form, otherwise it's not gonna work. Now you have to close this form tag now, so close it, and then once you close it, the form tag automatically closes by itself. If it doesn't close, you have to type it out, and then come inside of this form now, and you're gonna type your code. Now in Django, whenever you are using form, you need to use csrf underscore token cross site request forgery. So you have to open it, below your form tag, type a curly brace, percentage, and then inside of it type cs rf underscore token cross site request forgery. Now this template tag, it's used in building web application in Django. This tag is integral to Django's built-in protection against cross-site request forgery attack. Now, this is a type of attack. The cross-site request forgery is a type of attack where a malicious actor can trick user into submitting a request to a web application where they are authenticated, often without their knowledge. So this kind of attack can lead to unauthorized action being performed on behalf of the user. Now, to prevent CSRF attacks, Django uses this token-based approach when a form is rendered in the Django templates. So yeah, so if you don't do this, most times your forms wouldn't even work on Django. Sometimes it can work, but then your web application can be vulnerable to this kind of attacks. Now the next thing you want to do is two curly braces like this, and then you type the name of your form inside it. So the name of our form is, go back to your views.py, and then this is where we passed it as a dictionary, as a context dictionary. So the first form is user reg form. Copy it. We are able to access this form because we passed this data inside this URL. So you go back to your vendorregistration.html, and then you put it here inside of it, and then type dots as underscore p. Even if you don't do this, the form is still gonna display, but this dot underscore p will make it to display in paragraph, line by line, maybe first name, last name, surname, username, or whatever. And remember, at this stage we are not designing our HTML template, so this form and the template, everything is just gonna look ugly. But after we finish our driver registration, we're gonna start working on beautifying our HTML templates with HTML, CSS code, JavaScript code using both vanilla JS and jQuery, and then we're also gonna use a CSS library called Bootstrap. Now the next form, simply copy this. The next form you want to display is, I'm gonna paste it, and then go back to your views.py on your vendor app, and then you pick this profile form, copy it, go back to the templates and paste it here. And the last form you want to pick is, duplicate this, go back to your views.py, and then copy this vendor form, go back here and type it. And that's all. Now after this, you need to place a button here. So when the user inputs everything inside of these three forms, they can click on submit. Now open a tag, open the button tag. Button type has to be submit, and then you close the tag and then put what you want to display on the button. So I'm gonna call it register. You can call your submit or whatever you want. Register. Yeah, that's it. So now I'll go to my home.html. Let me adjust this so you see the full code. Now simply copy this that I've already typed for the user registration, duplicate it. So I'm gonna say register your vendor account here, and then this URL is gonna be, go to your vendor app, urls.py, this vendor reg, copy it, go back to the home, vendor reg. I'm just gonna remove this class first because we don't have any CSS for now. Remove this class as well. I was the one that added it when I was, building the main application. So I build the main application and then I teach you how to build it. So this is it. Now go to file and click on save all. So yeah, now I'm gonna put this inside the paragraph tag so that after this line it goes to the next line before it displays this. So P, close it, and then move this, copy all this and put it within the paragraph tag. So now click on file and save all. We have to test everything that we've done. So make sure everything is saved, file, save all, and then open your terminal, click on new terminal, and then type python manage.py, run server, press enter. Then you follow this link. So now, yeah, this is it. Hello world. This is okay. I'm gonna go to, I need to separate this message from this register your account here. So go to your code and then you can find it inside, go to your home.html, and then after here, register your account here, put this in a paragraph tag, P, close the P, and then cut all of this, Ctrl X, put it here. Yeah, go to file, click on save all, and then refresh your page. So this is our home page. We've not designed it. Once we complete our driver registration, we'll start designing our home page. Now, yeah, this is register your vendor account. Click on it. So it's saying type error at vendor reg, one required positional argument message. So it's gonna show you where the error is on line 12. So go to your code, go to your views.py. Yeah, this is where it is. So I forgot to include request here. Request, put a comma. Yeah, that's it. And then you click on file, save all, go back to your page and then refresh the page. Now when I refreshed it, or if I click here, it doesn't take me to the vendor registration page because I am logged in. If you look at the code, it says if request.user is authenticated, you are already logged in. These messages will not display for now because we need to use CSS or Bootstrap classes to display it. But if it's already authenticated, if I'm already logged in, it should redirect to home. That's why it's taking me back to home. I think I logged into the admin panel without logging out. That's why. So if yours is displaying this way, just come to this point, put a /, type admin, and then here, look at my site administration is not logged out, and look at the message you are already logged out because there is the CSS class is in here. That's why it's displaying here. So simply click on logout, and then you can remove this side of the code to go back to your home page. Yeah, now you can click it again. Now this is my form. This is a vendor registration form that is looking very ugly because there is no CSS classes. Now I think one of the form is not showing, the profile form is not showing, so we have to check it out now. So now, yeah, our profile registration form is not displaying. Go back to the code and then look at there. I say profile form equals user profile. This is capital U and this is capital P. So I'm going to check my import statement. So profile form, user profile and user profile. From authentication.forms imports user profile. Now I'm just gonna make sure that this is the correct spelling. That's why when you want to pick these kind of things, you just need to copy and paste. So I'll go back to my authentication, go to my forms, and then look at it, profile form. They are not the same thing. So copy this and then go back to my views.py on my vendor app and then just paste it here. Profile form, copy this and paste it here as well. That should work now. Okay, so you have to change this again in the else statement, and then you also have to change this in the dictionary. Yeah. Now go back to file and click on save all. And then once you refresh your page, so my form is showing. So this is the user form for capturing username and password and email. And then the password too is this place confirm password. And then this is my profile form, first name, last name, this. So we're just gonna fill out everything now and then test it out. So now I have filled out all my forms. I filled out all the forms and you can select a picture here. You can select your cover, and then yeah, fill out everything. But there is a little issue here. I can see vendor license. Yeah, I can also see another vendor license here. So go back to your code. So this is the issue here. The field name is vendor license. V small letter, L small letter. But yeah, while defining it here, I use capital V and capital L. So just copy this and paste it here. That's why when you want to pick field names and stuff like this, just do copy and paste. And then go back to your file, click on save all, and then refresh your page. So yeah, so vendor license is no longer duplicates. Now fill out the form again. So I filled out the forms and then I'm just gonna click on nationality. I'll choose Japan. Click on register. Okay, so we're having an error, and then we're gonna check it out now. Line 17, profile form equals profile form request.post request.files. I'm gonna check it. So we are able to see this error on this interface because if you go to your settings, you can find your settings in your main project folder, which is book and guide. So click on it, click on settings.py, and then look at it, debug equals true. So during development, during production in production environment, we set this to be true. So when there is error, we'll be able to know where the error is coming from. But once the application is going live, we'll set it to be false. So the user wouldn't know where the error is coming from, because if they know, they can use it to attack our system. So when the application is live and if there's error, we can just maybe redirect to an error page, so yeah, so I'm just gonna go back to my code. Yeah, it says it's telling me it's on line 17. It has no attribute request.files. So this is a nasty mistake. I'm just gonna go here. This is request.files, capital files, and this is also request.files. Yeah, go back to file, click on save all. If there is other errors, we're gonna see it, and then come back here, refresh your page. Maybe we have to fill it all over again. So before you submit your form, let's go back to our code, and I'm gonna check something now. In here, vform.isValid and userform.isValid, you need to enclose this in parentheses, otherwise you're gonna have error. So click on file, click on save all. So I think everything looks good now. Yeah, so I'm gonna fill the form again. Now again, just go back to your code, and then I think there is another issue. The user.role equals user.vendor. There will be an issue with this, so go back to your authentication app and then go back to the models, and then you see the role choice is vendor, customer, or driver. So this is all caps. So I'm gonna go back here to my vendor app and then to my views.py, and then change this to all caps, vendor. Yeah, and then click on file, click on save all, and then come back to your page and fill the form now. Yeah, one last thing. Here, go back to the code. The user.save enclosed in parentheses is a method, so profile also has to be, it also have the parentheses. So vendor.save, profile.save, the user.save. Go back to file and save all, refresh your page, and then fill your form. So choose your profile picture, and then choose your cover photo, vendor license, and then yeah, so click on register now. Yeah, so it has saved to the database. Now I'm just gonna go to my admin panel, put a forward slash here, admin, just to verify if the record was saved. So I'll go to my vendor registration, and then yeah, this is it. So it was saved, and then I'll go to users as well. Yeah, this is it. Vendor, everything is saved, and the user profile as also. So it is saved. Now I'm gonna show you a field error and non-field errors. So I'm gonna go back to my home page and then fill the form again and make mistakes intentionally. So I'm gonna use my fake filler to fill all the inputs, select profile picture, select cover, choose my vendor license, and then in here I'm just gonna use ever because I think I've used this name before. Then password confirmation, I'm gonna remove it, and then my email as well, I'm gonna remove this @ sign here, and then click on register. So this is example of a field error. Please fill out this field. This field is missing. Yeah, so I'm gonna fill it out now, and then click on register. Now it didn't register. Go back to my code, and on this terminal I can check the errors. Yeah, so look at the errors. It says user with this username already exists. Already exists. This is the error. Now this is a non-field error. A field error is the one maybe you didn't put @ in your email address, or you didn't fill one of the field. But here it queries the database and says that the user with the username already exists. Now this is where I captured it. In here, print invalid forms, print v_form.errors, user form.error, profile form.errors. That's why it's displaying those errors. And then look at the second error, enter a valid email address, because I didn't put @ here, and this is a field error. And then the last one is the two password field didn't match. So your password field, this and this, has to match for it to work. So I'm just gonna fill it correctly now. Yeah, and then I'm gonna choose my file, choose this as well. So from our next lectures, when we've completed the driver registration, we're gonna design our templates with HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap and JavaScript. And then instead of displaying these errors on our terminal, we'll display the errors on this form and make everything nice and good looking. Now click on register. So if it saves, it redirects us back to the home page, but ideally we'll create a dashboard that will redirect the user to their respective dashboard. So this is where I'm gonna end this video, and then don't forget to like the videos, ask questions if you are confused or if you have any issues or any errors, and then don't forget to follow my channel so that once I drop the next video, you're gonna receive a notification. And yeah, thank you very much, and see you again in the coming days. Bye bye.